It has come to my attention that if I'm going to review black superhero movies, I should probably do the very first one. Meteor Man! Hello. What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and yes, I'm here to talk about and review The Meteor Man.
Meteor Man's in town.
Meteor Man is a film that came out in 1993. It is written and directed by Robert Townsend, and yes, this is technically, officially, the very first black-led superhero film, which is, it almost pains me to say this. The plot is we meet Robert Townsend. He also stars in the movie as Jefferson Reed, who's a teacher. He lives in this local town who just, I guess, it's a horrible neighborhood. The crime rate is up and gangs everywhere. And he wants to just help people and save people until he gets hit by a meteor rock. And this meteor rock gives him superpowers so that he can now become Meteor Man, somebody that can help the town stop these gangs and the violence and just be a good Samaritan, a good role model for everyone. Now, what I thought of The Meteor Man, which I should say, this is my very first time watching The Meteor Man. Wow! This is one of those movies that you've heard about for so many years. You've seen pictures of it, previews or clips, and you thought, oh man, I don't know if I ever want to watch that. Now that I have, it's bad. And I'm sorry, I am, because I know there are plenty of people who probably grew up on this movie. To them, like when they were a kid, they probably liked this on different levels, because there wasn't any black superheroes on film. So this was it.
Sorry, Mike.
This was essentially it. And yeah, at the end of the day, the movie does have a decent message. It is trying to be a feel-good movie. So I can appreciate that. I can respect that. I see what Robert Townsend was going for. But man, it fails at so many other things. Let's first talk about the tone. Like, the directing of this movie is not good because it starts off as a pseudo-comedy, like a slapsticky comedy where Robert Townsend's character is a goof, a joke. He's living back with his parents because his girlfriend left him, and he doesn't really have a place. Yeah, he's a teacher. Yeah, he's trying to do well for students, trying to give them the right advice, but that's not even working. Like, everybody around him is saying, you suck. So you go, okay, there's that. And then when he gets hit by this meteor rock, that's the first sign, the first scene of the movie where I went, whoa. Because it's pretty violent, like it's vicious. He gets hit with this meteor and it like burns his skin. And you're watching him like burn alive. And it's like, this isn't funny. Like, I figured this would be a spoof, and for the most part it is, but it's like you get that moment and it's like, oh man, then he ends up in the hospital and everybody's crowded around and there for him, and then he just wakes up with no burn marks and he has these superpowers. His superpowers include X-ray vision, super strength, frost breath, he can fly. He does all of these things that make you go, okay, that's kind of cool. But then some of them are lame. Like, there's one of his powers is that he can touch a book, learn everything in the book just by touching it, but then forgets everything that he learned in 30 seconds. What's the point of that power? The fact that he gets the powers and then if he uses them too much, he starts to lose them. And I know you had to give him some sort of weakness because otherwise he's indestructible, he's bulletproof, he's unstoppable. But it's just, it makes you think, yeah, I wouldn't want to be this guy in so many ways, but especially even as a superhero. Some of the other cast, you had Eddie Griffin, who I don't know how many movies he had done by this point. He's just sort of here to be the goofy sidekick. James Earl Jones, who lives in the building with them. And it's so weird because James Earl Jones, I respect him as an actor, a voice actor for so many of my favorite movies. And he's so kind of goofy at the beginning, like pretty much a joke. And then later on, there's scenes of him crying because of somebody getting beat up by a gang or like bad things happening. And he's emotional and he's acting. And you're like, what? I thought you were the goofy guy. You're wearing these toupees. Really? Robert Townsend, I think the grandmother gets beat up by the gang. And the news is there, and they're all crowded around, and everybody's upset and emotional. And then the very next scene is him deciding to be a superhero, so you have a montage, a silly, goofy montage of him trying out different costumes. And it's, like, goofy. And it makes me go, is this trying to be serious with these moments? Or is it just trying to be goofy? I'm not saying a movie can't be both, but when it's this jarring, and when, honestly, the jokes aren't working for me, like, I didn't laugh once.
Stay chilly, peace them out. Chilly.
Also, speaking of problems, Bill Cosby is in the movie. I know this was back when Cosby was still well revered and looked up to as this iconic figure in comedy and blackness, but it's so weird to see him now, to go back and see him now. Even clips of The Cosby Show I can't watch without thinking it's weird.
Haven't you ever noticed after people have some of my barbecue sauce, after a while when it kicks in they get all huggy-buggy?
And his character is that he's a homeless guy who got in contact with another meteor, so he has powers too, but he doesn't talk, he's a mute. And there's even one scene of him barking with a bunch of stray dogs, and you go, what? What's happening right now? And let's talk about the villains, the gang. The gang is a bunch of black dudes who have blonde hair. They're dressed in all black. One of them is played by Don Cheadle. A very young Don Cheadle, might I add. And another one is played by Tommy Lister. Debo from Friday. I know there's a bunch of other rappers in the film as well. Big Daddy Kane, Cypress Hill, Naughty by Nature. I get what Robert Townsend was going for. He was trying to do a feel-good, inspirational type of film. And it is the first black superhero. And maybe he wanted to initially do this more serious. But at the time, nobody would approve a black superhero unless it was goofy. Unless it was a parody or a joke. So who knows? Maybe he was forced to do that. That could very well be true, but I have to take in and debate and review the movie that I have in front of me. And overall, this movie just wasn't cutting it for me.
That's some old bullshit.
Especially when the final battle of the film is the two characters having a dance-off. I know. It could have been another movie with the same exact stuff happening, but if it was written better, if it was directed better, if it was just put together better, it could have worked. So guys, I didn't love this film. I didn't like it very much at all. I know it's the first black superhero film, but it does not get a pass for that. Let me know in the comments below if you grew up on this. Do you love it? Or do you agree with me? It's pretty lame. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!
Got a golden mind, can't stop till I reach that the gold is mine. No feet up, seat back, music, I breathe that, sleep that, eat that, ease back is pretty close, leading the pack, cause it is like snacks, a little to hold you over light work to me, but opponents under a bulldog.